So, I'm asked pretty often, you know, is Dauthi Voidwalker good in Modern? Is there a place for Dauthi Voidwalker? Can we play it in Jund? And you know what? It's not a bad place in Jund. You can play Inquisition of Kozilek, you can play Thoughtseize, you can clear the way for the Dauthi Voidwalker. Because this thing is not exactly indestructible. I mean, this is a very vulnerable creature. 2 mana for a 3/2, unblockable, basically, because it does have Shadow, can only be blocked by only creatures with Shadow. I think there's almost no other creatures in the Modern format that have Shadow. You can correct me if I'm wrong. If there are any other creatures, I mean, they're unplayable. But we got a beefy 3/2 creature here with some neat ability. If a card would be put in an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, exile it with a Void counter on it. And of course, you can sacrifice the Voidwalker, choose an exile card an opponent owns with a Void counter on it. You may play this card this turn without paying its mana cost. You can exchange it with something big. So Voidwalker has caught the attention of a lot of players, but where's the home? Where is the home for the Dauthi Voidwalker? Maybe in Stoneblade. And you know what? It makes a lot of sense. I mean, you throw the Dauthi Voidwalker in the Stoneblade deck. It's actually pretty good because remember, this is basically an unblockable creature. What a better creature to put a Sword of Fire and Ice on, a Batterskull, a Cauldron Complete. I mean, no one really wants to be blocking a Cauldron Complete anyway, but just in case it matters. Is it too loud? I don't know how to make this lower. How about that? Super, we're correcting the music. I'm playing around with a little bit of Banjo-Kazooie here. Okay, there's enough people. If there's like more than one, if there's one person complaining about the music, I say fuck it. But if there's more than one, and there are more than one, we gotta turn it down. We're turning it down. There we go. Everyone says it's perfect now. Hopefully nobody left after the music debacle at the beginning. That Banjo-Kazooie music, a little too loud, I guess. Anyway, getting back to the Stoneblade deck, I think this is a perfect shell for Dauthi Voidwalker. And Blue-Black and the Orzhov Stoneblade deck has been rising up in popularity significantly. There are different variations. There's the ones with, you know, Grief in it as well. They're using Ephemerate, but here's this one's also utilizing Dauthi Voidwalker. I don't know how many versions of Orzhov are going the Dauthi Voidwalker route. I know I've played against it before because I had to bring in, what's it called? I had to bring in, like, Cursed Totem in order to deal with both the Dauthi Voidwalker and Stoneforge Mystic. I mean, I guess this isn't even that big of a deal. If you take, like, one of my lords, does it even matter? Because you have to sacrifice the Voidwalker. I mean, this is probably more dangerous by itself. It's no big deal. Anyway, I thought that was a pretty interesting thing to see. Dauthi Voidwalker, definitely seeing play in Modern. We didn't know exactly where it was going to go. And actually, I find this one of the more unexpected archetypes to see it in. But it makes sense. It makes perfect sense. Has synergy with the deck. Has perfect synergy with the deck. Alright, welcome to the morning show where we discuss all things Magic the Gathering. Get your questions fired up and let's have a great discussion this morning. Also, we do deck list review, so if you got a 75, you'd like some feedback on, want to share it with the community, submit it to us, and both myself and the community would love to give that feedback. So brew up your coffees. Let's brew up some magic this morning. Welcome to Coffee and MTG for June 22nd, 2021. I am your host, Nikachu, the Merfolk Master. Good morning. And as we get into this morning, we're going to thank our sponsors, FusionGamingOnline.com. This week, you can save 15% off all gaming accessories. You're talking dice, deck boxes, sleeves, binders, playmats. They got it all at Fusion Gaming Online. 15% off. And if that's not a good enough deal for you, you want a little extra, you can get an extra 5% off when you use coupon code Nikachu at checkout. Yeah, it gives yourself a deal and supports the channel. We're also going to thank Mana Traders, the premier place to rent Magic cards online, and definitely the way that for you to experiment with all versions of Stoneblade, all versions of food. I mean, and there's actually a lot of versions of Stoneblade out there. We have multiple different variations of Orzhov. We have multiple different variations of, like, Jeskai. Like, people are experimenting with Ragavan in the Stoneblade decks. It's pretty serious business. Serious business, those Stoneblade decks. You can support the channel using my Mana Traders link in the description below or save 15% off your first 2 months using coupon code Nikachu. Alright. I know I can't hear the music. Alright. Boosting the volume on my own speakers. So you know the drill. 3 question marks before the question, 3 question marks after the question. Helps me find your questions amongst all the comments you have. Oh, yeah, and like helps me find your questions amongst like everywhere on I can see comments and questions on multiple YouTube channels and Facebook page. Good morning, Fraser. Good morning, 6mm. Good morning, Mikey J, Savage, Walter, MTG Ectoplasm, Rebecca, James, Steven, MTG Box, Aztec Guy, Ryan, Massimo, Black, Vic, LSF, Goriel, Wayne, Chuck Norris, Lucas. Good morning, everyone. Walter says, I got to get my coffee on later this afternoon playing Modern. Oh! Yeah, you want to be alert as possible for those tournaments. You know, my secret weapon, at least when I was younger, I can't say the same thing now, as I went to sleep at like 4 o'clock in the morning every night. So that means I wake up really late in the day, which means I'm more alert when it comes to local game store time. Because for me, like when we get to play in F&M, that's closer to like lunch/evening for me, but for everyone else it's like evening/night, so they're more tired than I was. Happens. All right, where's the questions? Do you think Modern is in a healthy state? Yes. So I think I don't know if I could predict this. I have a feeling the food decks are going to become a larger and larger percent of the metagame, to the point where you're going to be playing against food like, I don't know, basically 3 times a day, or 3 times a league or something like that. But right now, there's not that many food decks. It's not overly oppressive or anything like that. People are playing tons of stuff. There's probably more variety in Modern right now than I've ever could remember. Ever. And there's so many variations, like I said, there's many different variations of Stoneblade, maybe different approaches to the Stoneblade deck. So even for that one archetype, we see a lot of variety. Rise and shine, it's coffee time. That's right. Can we get some orchestral background music? I'm probably gonna stick to like video game music. The nostalgic stuff. It reminds me of the good old days when they made games properly. Well, the problem with Nintendo is they sold Rare off to Microsoft, and as far as I know, they didn't do anything with Rare. Nothing. They just made garbage. I don't know. Rare is a great developer, and they just made garbage games for Microsoft. Steve Manzo, what do you think Death and Taxes will do with Esper, Sentinel, Solitude, Sanctifier on Vec, Culture Complete, since Leon and Arbiter is possibly on its way out? They'll make use of it. I don't know about Esper Sentinel. I really don't believe in this card. Like, you know, it could see play, I get it, but like, it's not that good. And it's a very weak body. The body's weak. It's not taxing the opponent. It has no, like, it doesn't have any actual interaction. It's just like really awkward card draw, in my opinion. And I think the opponent has too much power. Like, they'll just not pay it if it doesn't matter. But the other cards, I mean, your Solitude, Sanctifier on Vec, Culture Complete. I mean, you're more or less discussing what's in a Stoneblade deck already. Papa Joe! Suppose I'm trying to build Merfolk, but in no rush to complete it on paper, as I have other proper decks. Should Vile be the first buy? Yes, because it's not going down, in my opinion. Let's take a look at MTG Stocks. And the problem is, like, it has nowhere to go but up. See? I mean, so the longer you wait on the Vile, the more high it's gonna go. I mean, there's quite a few decks that you're sort of competing with right now. Maybe not Death and Taxes, but definitely Humans is more popular right now. There's, of course, a big surge for Merfolk. So I think especially the Humans players, they're really excited to play Humans. And they're doing quite well right now. So, yeah, I would get Aether Vial. This isn't like whatever supply is in the that exists right now, it's pretty fixed. What's a Modern Masters one going for? Yeah, same situation. It's just going up. I would get your Aether Vials first, absolutely. Should be more of a rush to get Ether Vial, less in a rush to get everything else. Redhead Kid, when do you think the metagame will stabilize? Probably not anytime soon. It's probably going to be changing a lot until... The fortunate thing is one archetype has not sucked all the life out of the format. So, like, even though the food deck is probably pretty good, not enough people are playing it. Or it may not be that oppressive yet. You know, it's got its own weaknesses. It's very low to the ground, and, you know, Chalice of the Void can take care of it from, you know, decks like Eldrazi-tron and Merfolk. So far, there's nothing overwhelmingly powerful that other decks cannot deal with. It's very diverse. It's very diverse. And it's probably going to keep changing week in and week out. Because there's a lot of ideas people are trying out right now, but it might work, it might not. And over time, probably some of these ideas will get pushed out. And the better ideas will float to the top. Slice Off, what's the thought on Blood Moon Bolt Folk? The thought is you get to play with Blood Moon. Blood Moon and Merfolk. And sometimes if you combine that with Spreading Seas, you can really screw with their mana. But the idea is, like, there are some really difficult matchups, like Primetime decks, specifically Amulet. This would give a really good way to equalize that matchup, because Blood Moon just basically shuts the deck off unless they have Dryad of the Elysian Grove. Stoneforge is $50. That's almost its all-time high. I mean, according to this, what is it? Oh yeah, market is at $50. The average price is at 76. So I think we go at market. Yeah, it's $50. It's almost near its high when it got unbanned. Yeah, this is when it got unbanned. Boom, close to $76, and it's right back. It's back, baby. You're back, Stoneblade, Stoneforge Mystic. We knew you had it in you all along. GP, can I play Jeskai Blade without that stupid Ragavan? That's the only card I miss. I don't want to buy it. Yes, but your deck obviously will be, like, way weaker compared to the other Jeskai Stoneblade decks. But, I mean, the short answer would be yes. I don't know if this is a good replacement, but maybe play the, what's it called? The Rage Channeler card. Dragon Rage Channeler. Oops, I'm looking at this on the wrong site. So this might be your best replacement. Not the greatest replacement, because this is doing a very different thing, but at least keeps that aggro going. The Bobby! And Nikachu, is there any point to running Faithless Salvaging over Haggle in Modern Dredge? Probably not. You want to get that... like, the point of Haggle is you can discard something on turn 1 and enable your dredging by turn 2. By turn 2, you're not dredging until turn 3, because that's what Faithless Salvaging does, right? It's a 2-mana spell. Yeah. I don't think there's any point to this in Dredge. I mean, unless they ban Cathartic Reunion. Then maybe there's a point. But you're not... No, this is not better than Cathartic Reunion. Or that other one that makes you, when it resolves, you discard 3 cards, draw... Sorry, discard 2 cards, draw 3 cards. Steve Fink, did you see the crazy amount of value on the new Praetor Secret Lair drop? I did not. Praetor. Is this value? It is $30. If I'm not mistaken, you know, Jin Gitaxian might have been a little pricey of a card one time. Jin Gitaxias. Oops. Jin... I don't know how to spell this guy's name. How do you spell it? Is it J-I-N? Oh, Jin Gitaxias, Core Augur. Look at this! He's $35 just by himself. And you're getting all that, like, right here. You get Jin Gitaxias and all the other ones. That's crazy. This is crazy value. Who's excited for value? Finally, they're printing money. For us. This is reverse printing money. Yeah, 5 Praetors for 30 bucks when several of them are over $50. It's the inverted money printing machine. You buy this thing and you print the money. That is crazy. This is Wizards fixing... I mean, hey, the Wizards will be like... Wizards might be preparing to tell people... Because, you know, everyone's criticizing Wizards. Hey, your secret layers are really expensive to meet, like, because it's the same price as the market, basically. And then they'll be like, no, you remember the Praetors? Look, it's the same 30 bucks as all the other crappy secret layers. See, this is all... It's all special. I mean, when we charge 150 bucks for a secret layer, there's a reason. This one is just $30. Maybe it's $30 because it's a foreign language card, people. The foreign language cards, they always sell worse than English. They always sell worse. Even if the language is Phyrexian, those foreign language cards are so hard to sell. Wizards knew it immediately. They put the price at 30 bucks. Yeah, earn Inverter of Finances. Anyway, go get them secret. So this will be an interesting thing to see. I mean, I guess we'll never know the numbers, how many of these secret layers they're going to sell. Because, okay, so how many... I don't know the other ones. I know, Elishnorn? It's not Elish, it's Elishnorn, right? This site really, you know, MTG Stocks has, like, the worst, I don't know, SEO, artificial intelligence. I mean, I guess it serves me right. I thought it was Elishnorn. Elish? It is Elish? Well, nothing came up. Elish? Well, it does come up. I'd be damned. Yeah, this one's 30 bucks. For a secret, you know, you could buy one card for the price of a whole secret layer set. Why would you do that? The only disadvantage is your commander friends are going to just be pissed because they can't read your damn card. They can't read the card. Anyway, yeah, that's insane value. I probably should have named the Coffee and MTG after that if I knew. If only I knew! Okay, so Bobby asks, hey Nikachu, is there any point to running Faithless? Oops, I got that one already. Went too far back. Dauthi and 8-rack? Maybe. 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 I mean, I guess it would be safe, but I guess it would be safe. The problem is it's hard to get the void counter on the thing if you're stripping... Because I think ideally in 8-rack, you strip your opponent's hand of everything. Then you play... Then when the coast is clear, you play the Dauthi Voidwalker. And at that point, there'd be no void counters on anything. Lucas Johnson, I'd be curious to see if Death and Taxes winds up slipping into a third color with Leonin heading out and being able to run fetches. Probably not. I don't think Death and Taxes wants to play 3 colors, even if Leonin is heading out 2 color, because then you start to get weak to Blood Moon. And that one of the advantages of Death and Taxes is it was not vulnerable to Blood Moon. You were an Ether Vial, I would say 2 color deck, because you are still running enough colorless lands that Blood Moon would do a little bit to you. It's not like it's completely free, but you are relatively free from getting hit by Blood Moon. But if you go 3 colors, you'll get smashed by Blood Moon. For sure. Ryan Harris, could Undercity Informer partner well with Voidwalker? Probably not. This card just doesn't see play outside of a combo deck. Sacrifice creature, target player reveals cards from the top of their life. Nah, you're losing a card to potentially get a card. And it doesn't mean that you're going to get a good one either. You just might get a mediocre one, so you end up spending 2 cards to get one. I think it's a bit too jank. 27 Noetic, do you think the winning food list is the optimal one, or is there a more broken version incoming? I think we're still evolving. I think we're still waiting. The food deck just keeps getting better every single week, so probably this one can get even more optimized. Eden Yardeni, after seeing the new meta, what cards are at risk of a ban at most, not only from Modern Horizons 2? I think the only 2 cards that have any heat on it are Urza Saga and Asmarano. Martika Dasna Kuldakar, but so far they're okay. You know, I'm not saying like, oh, we got to emergency ban this stuff. No, they're okay right now. It's just that over time, if too many decks adopt them and they're the only decks that make top 8s, they're probably in real risk. But I mean, so those are the only 2 cards that might throw a red flag. Everything else is fine. And even then, right now, Modern isn't a good spot. Blackvic asks, some picks to improve the Modern traditional Jund deck. I think they should pick up old cards. Like, I think they should play with more Seasoned Pyromancer. I think they should play with, like, Bone Crusher Giant. I think there's a lot of good tools out there for Jund to play with, and they just don't want to play with them. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. Maybe Bone Crusher Giant is, like, not very well positioned right now, but I think there's a lot of cards. I really wish Jund would just dump cards that are not very good anymore. Like, they are the only Liliana the Veil deck now. You know, maybe that's a sign, you know? When you're the only deck playing Liliana the Veil, maybe it's not any good. You know what I mean? I mean, even the old Death Shadow decks used to play Liliana the Veil, and they don't even do that anymore. They gotta let go. Jund, you gotta let go. You gotta... Some of these cards don't work anymore. Let go of the old stuff. Embrace the new stuff. You'll do great. Play Karn the Great Creator. Georges, I'm seeing Murktide Regent in Delver Decklist. Do you think it's a good fit? Yes. Murktide Regent is a great fit. I think it's a better fit than Delver in those lists. So, I mean, this is like the new Gurmag Angler, right? Except it flies, which is nice and convenient. And it can get out of range of Dismember. And it can get out of range of the food. I mean, you could make this a 7/7 flyer, and then all of a sudden, like, the food decks will be like... Well, I mean, they'll have to spend 4 food to kill it. It's a very good card. It's going to see more play. But that's not the end we've seen of Murktide Regent. Victor says, I'm going to go play Banjo-Kazooie now. It's a classic, an absolute classic. Dylan asks, good morning. What price do you think Ragavan will settle? Will it get banned? I don't know what the price will settle. And right now is the stress test to see if it gets banned. Maybe it won't. Maybe it won't. So, I mean, the price, yeah, the price is pretty high. I cannot predict where the price is going to be. It's impossible to know. Nobody knows. If people knew where the price would be, everyone would be millionaires off of just, like, buying and selling Magic cards. Anyway, I have no idea where the price will be. Could it get banned? It could. Right now is the stress test. It's the stress test on Modern. LSF, Goriel, a lot of decks in white are running both Firewalker and Sanctifier in the sideboard. What do you think about it? I think it's fine. You know, they've got basically 6 cards that are indestructible to, like, Ragavan, Lightning Bolt, stuff like that. So, makes sense. Not to mention, you know, there's still some prowess out there that you have to take care of. Not to mention, remember, now this is like a core Firewalker. Well, I mean, it doesn't gain life. That can interact with graveyard decks. So, I mean, that's a huge bonus for the white decks. Now they don't have to play as many, like, Rest in Pieces or something because they got their Pro Red and their graveyard all in one package. Strawboss asks, should Artifact Hate be a priority in my sideboard now? Priority is a strong word. You should have some. You definitely should have some. Jen Low, hey Nikachu, should I buy my Ragavans now or should I wait? Can't give you that advice. Can't give you that advice. But I imagine that Ragavan price... I actually don't know where this is going to go. I can tell you that Ragavan will get more popular as time goes on. But I cannot tell you if the popularity of Ragavan going up means the price will go up because Modern Horizons 2 supply will keep increasing and keep the price at least some sort of equilibrium. RG, played a tournament yesterday, and I am so disappointed in myself. I have missed Red Leonin Arbiter for a year. Red? I thought you paid... Oh, you misread. I thought you paid each search, lost the game because of it. Do you have stories like this? I do not. Not with Leonin Arbiter. My only story I have is I keep forgetting that it's on the board. And so I'll be like, I don't know. My opponent ghost quarters me, and I immediately pick up my deck to go look for a land, and then my opponent tries to stop me, and then we gotta call a judge, and then we gotta shuffle the library because I saw the bottom card. Did you scry this turn? Put any known cards on the bottom of the library? You know, whatever. So that's the only thing that happens to me very, very often. Which is stupid. And online, very often, you forget it. You don't forget about Leonin Arbiter, but you do things in the wrong order, because like when you try to search for something, it won't give you the option, do you want to pay? Before, what you have to do is I think you have to click on your opponent's Leonin Arbiter and pay for the 2 in advance, and then let yourself search your library. Otherwise, you get screwed. Have you played much Legacy? And if so, what's the chief differences in gameplay between Modern and Legacy? I haven't played much lately. I would say the chief difference in... I don't want to say gameplay, because gameplay is starting to get more and more similar. But for the most part, Modern is just very clunky, because we traditionally didn't have so many free spells. We do now, whereas Legacy has Force Will and a lot of free spells and is way more mana efficient. Another big difference between Modern and Legacy. Legacy really doesn't change too much. It's really the same shit for like the last 10 years. Whereas with Modern, as we see, like, Modern metagame changes constantly as cards get banned, new cards enter the format. There's a lot of really powerful staples in Legacy that makes it more resistant to really big meta shakeups. Like, there's fucking Delver there for like years. For the most part, the only changes is sometimes goes from like Teamer to like 4-color to blue-red to Teamer to blue-red. Retro Studios is basically the new Rareware at Nintendo. They even have some former Rareware. Oh, that is good stuff to know. Who cares about the company? All that matters are the employees. Like, Rare busted out all instant classic after instant. Like, we're talking Donkey Kong Country, Killer Instinct, Banjo-Kazooie, GoldenEye. They made all the good stuff, all right? Everything that Nintendo 64 was known for, Rare made it. Why? I don't know. Microsoft just has too much money. They smelled the money and they went towards Microsoft. How's the local game store situation in Canada? It's terrible. I mean, I mean, whatever. You can shop there or whatever. There's no... We're not vaccinated in Canada. It's very, very slow. I have one shot. My next shot is like on July 18th. That's how long I have to wait. It's a very slow rollout. So, no local game store tournaments yet. I'm hearing everything's going back to normal everywhere else. It sounds like. I'm still in the Stone Age here. Barbell Boa. Really glad I bought my vows for vampires a couple months ago. That's right. You got in when the getting was good. Drew Smith, what do you think of Doomwake's 5-0 with your Simic Merfolk list? It's proof that this deck has what it takes. It's good stuff. I'm telling you, people. Thank God new cards got printed so that other, you know, notable players can, like, pick it up and try it out. It was a clean 5-0, too. It was a clean 5-0. James J., am I nuts for investing in Squirrel Commander? No, because you can do whatever you want. Commander, anything goes. Squid Guy, what makes Merfolk different than other tribes? We've got counter spells, which can matter sometimes. We also have, assuming we have Island Walk online, we have genuinely unblockable creatures. And apparently now we have our own Uro in the form of Svelun. As Agadam's Awakening in a tribal deck? I don't know what this is in reference to. Sorry about that, Chris. MTG Ectoplasm. Do you have any predictions on the D&D set coming out within 2 months? I have nothing. I don't work for Wizards R&D. I got no insiders. No one's leaked me anything, so I can't predict anything that's coming out. Lofatan. There are 1,000 new cards printed each year, so why do people care about unbanning 1 or 2 cards? Well, some, you know, while there are thousands new cards printed each year, they don't necessarily help your archetype. So some people want, say, Splinter Twin. There are some very unique cards on the ban list. Very unique cards on the ban list. Like Splinter Twin, which enables a two-card control tempo combo deck. So that's why. Here's the deal. Of those 1,000 new cards printed every year, most of them are shit. They're shit cards. They will not see the light of day in Modern or Legacy or any other notable format outside of Standard. It's just tons of shit, basically. Honestly, though, actually, Fire Design changed that. It's like half of it is shit, half of it is like really good stuff. Tim Plath. Pioneer is popular in my area. Any thoughts on current fish for Pioneer? I don't know if there's a playable deck for Pioneer. It's missing one more Lord. If it has one more Lord, it'd be good. You could go the Mono Blue Devotion route, which feels similar to Merfolk, because it still does play a lot of Merfolk. Plays Thassa God of the Sea, Master of Waves, Harbinger of the Tides, Tidebinder Mage. You could go that route, but like they actually go pure Merfolk, very difficult. They're missing like one more Lord, because they don't have like very good evasion right now. Not very good evasion. Mistra's Bauble skyrocketed from $5 to 20. I gotta look at this. Coffee and MTG, where we like to look at the stonks. I like looking at the stonks. I don't know about the rest of you. Man. Is it gonna go back to its former glory? The glory days, people. When was the supply? Yeah, this was the supply shock. And then this is when it got reprinted. This is what reprinting an uncommon does. I'm surprised they didn't even make it rare. They probably didn't know at the time. They probably didn't know. Yeah, this was a very important card. It's funny how long... This card was in the format for forever and no one used it. It was probably playable the entire time. Or people barely used it, I should say. Oh, Chris Williams gave me a super chat. But what is the question? Thank you very much for the super chat, Chris. But what's the question? Yeah, I think I fixed that. I think you had a question though. I didn't understand your question when you asked. I mean, I read your thing, but okay, if you have something and I see it, I'll try to answer it. Thank you very much for the super chat, Chris. D-Tie Gaming, do you believe that the saying that XYZ is the best deck in Modern as opposed to saying it depends on the player piloting the deck? You could say that there is a best deck in Modern, though. I mean, like, yeah, I can compensate significantly playing Merfolk, but there might still be a best deck that, when played by a good player, is also going to be, like, really, really strong. I would say, you could say that the best deck is one that, devoid of skill, is still very good and will perform at a very high level. So skill can compensate, but like not everything. Jen Lo says, should I buy Ragavans now or should I wait? I'm scared of Ragavan getting banned. Ragavan is, Ragavan is under no immediate danger of getting banned. No one's really talking about Ragavan is like outrageously busted. It's, you know, it's gonna get banned soon. No one's saying that. It's just a card that looks very pushed for a 1-drop. And, I mean, of course, if it is too pushed, yeah, it would get banned. But anyway, I can't say whether you should buy it or not. Wet Willy, I have all creatures, vials, etc. Can I play humans with only 1 Cavernous Souls and no Horizon Canopies? Humans generally uses Cavernous Souls as like a mana fixer. So, yes, I would say you can, but your mana is going to be janky and you're going to take a lot of damage. It's going to come at a big disadvantage. I think you could live without the Horizon Canopies because it's just a green-white land, right? I mean, you could, in theory, play with a Brushlands who do the same thing because you take damage from it anyway. I think that's what I'm talking about. Brushlands, the Pain Land. I think it's the green-white Pain Land. Yeah, it is. So in theory, you could play this as a budget alternative. $11? Oh no. 7th edition. $6. Okay, that's more reasonable. Jeez. Commander, what are you doing to these rubbish cards? This used to be worthless. But like you'll you might hurt the deck quite a bit if you don't play with Cavernous Souls, because now you had a big disadvantage against control. Do you think Grief's price continues to drop? Probably. It is seeing play. It is seeing play in the Stoneblade decks, but it's not seeing a lot of play, so demand for it won't be super high. Leant, by the way, I think everything for the most part will continue to drop, so long as it's not like a 4x staple. Like, one reason Ragavan is going up in price is it's like seeing 4x in the Delver decks. I don't want to say Delver, but it's the Dragon Rage Chandler decks. It's also seeing 4x play in Stoneblade. It's also seeing 3x to 4x play in the food deck. So playset worthy, it's like a playset numbers are seeing play in multiple variations, so everyone wants to get Ragavan. Whereas when it comes to Grief, there's like one deck that wants to play it and only like half, and it's only seen play in half the decks. What do you think is better to play now, Blue-White Miracles or Blue-White Traditional Control? I would say Blue-White Traditional Control. Miracles is a little hard to set up. I mean, it's playable though. Do you think Merfolk will get tier 1? Love your channel. Still unlikely. You know what would help is if I can win a big tournament, and then maybe enough people will actually start paying attention to the deck. Or if someone else wins a big tournament with it, would help. But until like we get some really, really good results, I think people will just ignore it. And then even then, the problem with Merfolk getting to tier 1 and staying... We were tier 1 once, but then it cannibalized itself. Because the mirror match is bad. I think a deck has a better chance of going to tier 1 and staying there if there's enough skill that you can win the mirror. But then, unfortunately, Merfolk players will just be trading wins and losses whenever they face themselves, and that it's not good for the deck. It decreases their chances of, like, performing well in a tournament. Dan W, congrats on the recent Modern Challenge run. Do you think that Blue-White Fish can do the same, or Simic, where we settle? I haven't experimented with Blue-White Fish, but Blue-White Fish probably has some game. I would definitely want to experiment with the card Prismatic Ending in that deck. Definitely would love to play test that card in that deck. But I think Simic and Mono Blue are in a similar level to each other. I think they're both playable, so I imagine Blue-White Fish is still playable as well. Did Chris ask any other questions? Okay, Chris. This is the same Chris, right? It is. Okay, Chris. Immortal Servitude as a one-of in tribal decks instead of Agadeem's Awakening. Aha! No. Would you like an explanation? Yes. Because the thing with Agadeem's Awakening, and the reason why it's so expensive, is that it is a spell in your land. So you have the option to either play it as a spell like this, or you can just play it as a land drop to help yourself curve out. That is the difference. Whereas this is going to take up a card in your deck, whereas the Agadeem's Awakening does not. So you have the option to play this as a land if you want. You'll take 3 damage. It's not pleasant, but you can play this as a land. Now, you alternatively could, play it as a spell. So it's like when you're flooding out, you can top deck this, but this card cannot be a land. So you have to take out another card in your deck for it. If you really need the effect, like if you really need return each creature. What is Agadeem's Awakening? If you really need this effect, then the answer is yes. Like, if your deck is built around reanimating stuff, yes, this is perfectly fine. This is 39 cents, and maybe that's what you really needed in your deck. But if you wanted, like, the random effect, like the random upside, like, this card isn't good because of its effect. Return target creature from the battlefield, well, whatever. It's not a good card because it's a reanimator spell. Like, this is, like, the most busted thing in Modern. It's good because it just happens to be a spell on top of a land at the same time. That's what makes this card good. Also, in some decks, this is just considered a spell and not a land, and that helps some decks. So, I mean, if you really want that reanimator effect, yes, go with Immortal Servitude. But, it does not help the threat density for your deck, is what I want to say. I hope that's a good answer to you. Maurice Gray says, unban Deathrite Shaman. I don't mind it, Deathrite Shaman getting unbanned, honestly. I don't mind it. I think it'd be okay. I think you'd probably have to ban it again, but I think that would be okay. I think we should start experimenting with unbanning cards and then rebanning the damn thing later. It's just unban Deathrite Shaman, saying, okay, enjoy Deathrite Shaman while it's around. But we're fucking banning it again. Make no mistake about it. I think we could do that. I think Wizards should play around with that sort of stuff. I think that'd be the great. I mean, they could probably do the same thing with Mox Opal. They could say, okay, Mox Opal is legal for like 3 months, and then we're rebanning the damn thing. I think that's perfectly legitimate. What is the best Vindicate deck? Currently, it is Stoneblade. Orzhov Stoneblade. They're playing with some Vindicates here. They're going the full 4 here. No question, this is the best Stoneblade deck. Sorry, this is the best Vindicate deck. Nikachu likes that, because that's clunky removal. Look, they got Kaya's Gal and Vindicate. And Lingering Souls, that's so clunky. Somehow removal is getting... the format's getting more harsh and busted, but the removal is getting more clunky. Are Yawgmoth decks the real deal? Absolutely. Yawgmoth decks are a real deal. People are consistently making top 8s with that deck. The only thing holding it back is that there's not enough people replicating the results. But there are 2 people, one named Claudia and the other one, Tom Ross, is doing very... I think it's Claudio or something like that. I don't remember the name. But basically 2 people are killing it with Yawgmoth, proving that it's a real deck. Yeah, Perfect Dark was a good one as well. I never actually played that game because I'm really turned off by any like game with aliens, and that was like a very alien game with a small little creature with big head. Thoughts on Etron in Modern? Super underrated. Like, people have forgotten about this deck. I feel like people have forgotten about this deck for like a few years now. This is a very good deck right now. It's so good. And no one, and like barely anyone's playing it. It's so well positioned and no one wants to play it. It's so weird. This is a very underrated deck right now. Steve Manzo, wasn't Conker's bad to do... Oh, Bad Hair Day by Rare? I can't remember. I think so. Dude, my 2 brothers and I would have all-day marathons playing Killer Instinct Gold on the 64. Good times. Great console. It was. And 64 was a classic. Adam says, Canada has one of the fastest vaccine rates in the world. You in the east? I'm in the center. I'm from a place called Manitoba. Well, maybe when we get the vaccines, we have a high rollout, but like we have slight trouble. We're already running out of one. Like, we've run out of Pfizer. We're like moving on to Moderna now. Benjamin Armstrong, any suggestions for the Heliod matchup when I'm on Blitz? I always lose when they stick 1 or 2 pro-red creatures. I mean, that's the point. So you gotta side in more things like, what's it called? I'm surprised that deck is still a nuisance for you. Kozilek's Return. Okay, there's 2 cards that you have to be aware of. You can blow them out with Kozilek's Return. Tell them F your pro-red creatures. You gotta also hold on to your Bone Crusher Giants. Oops. So this is how you use it. Because Stomp says damage can't be prevented this turn. Stomp deals 2 damage to any target. So you attack with your prowess creatures, they block. Then you stomp them. The creatures are now big enough to kill off their pro-red creatures. And damage can't be prevented this turn. So protection from, say, red just means prevent red damage that would be dealt to that creature. But but Stomp says damage can't be prevented this turn, so those creatures are going to die. So those are your best ways of fighting off those asshole pro-red creatures, basically. I think Kozilek's Return and Stomp from Bone Crusher Giant are your best bets. Casper Soul, shouldn't the Through the Breach deck splashing black to run a playset of Gorios and couple Grizzle Daddies, since they run so many eluding effects like Prismatic Command and Is a Charm? Shouldn't the Through the Breach deck splash black to run a playset of Goryo? No, that's a very different deck, because once you start splashing, it's just a very, very different deck. Now you're moving into your Reanimator side. It's not worth it. Through the Breach should just be Through the Breach. I mean, you can make black red, right? You could do that. But like the current breach deck is more of like a, is it control deck more or less. Vials skyrocketed in price, just absolutely skyrocketed. Oh man, engagement is enormous today. Just tons of stuff. Ah, my favorite part of the song just came up. I love the this quiz thing. We're gonna make some good use out of this quiz music. But alas, it is time for deck list review. Whoops, I blew everyone's ears. I know it. I know. Sorry about that. All right. Well, where am I here? Yes, time for deck list. That's right. It's time for deck list review. We already looked at the sponsors. We don't have to repeat it. So if you want your deck list to be featured on deck list review, go into my description. In my description, there is a link to my Discord. Join my Discord. Then go to the channel deck list review and then enter the command ! Review deck space. Give the URL to your deck list and boom, you will be eligible at random to be chosen for deck list review. Not playing Slivers yet. Okay, so a lot of people have already submitted, so let's start looking. And by the way, I mean, if you submit, you're good for the whole week. M. Tyler, congratulations, you are the next contestant for deck list review. We have a pseudo budget mill deck, so that sounds like you're willing to spend some money, but not too much money. You might have already spent that money. You spent next week's paycheck already. Pseudo budget mill. We got some usual suspects. We got Luris, we got Hedron Crab, Ruin Crab, Blood Chief's Thirst, Extirpate. I guess this is like a budget replacement to Surgical Extraction. Totally fine. Totally fine. Fatal Push, Visions of Beyond, Drown in the Lock, Glimpse, The Unthinkable, Maddening Cacophony, Crypt Incursion, 4 Archive Trap, 2 Evolving Wilds. I don't know if I love that one. That is going to make things very slow. Terramorphic Expanse. No, we got to dump these. We got to dump them. You got to spend some money on Watery Grave. You got to spend some money on Watery Grave. That's the only thing I can tell you. So the thing is, how much is this? Ugh. It's not the most budget card, but you need 4 of them. Would 4 be enough? Field of Ruin can be either color. How many lands? We have 21 lands. Would you be opposed to doing a commander deck? Yes, I'd be completely. We accept anything except draft decks and commander decks, because I have reading 100 cards is impossible for me, and I don't even know what most of those cards are, and I cannot give you any suggestions. They're just really cumbersome to look through. So that's the rule. No commander decks, no draft decks. We got a draft deck once. It was really bizarre. Pathways are affordable. Beautiful. Let's get the pathways. We need some budget dual lands in here. Blightstep Pathway. No, hold on. This is not it. This is the red one. Where's the... Oh, do we not have a blue-black pathway? Dark Slick Shores is a good one. Do we not have a blue... What's the blue-black pathway called? If there is one. Maybe there isn't one. Deck list review music, very underrated part of the day. Yes, you can submit Legacy. We take everything. You can submit Standard for all I care. Dark Slick Shores, I think, is money. Oh, but it got reprinted, right? No, it got reprinted something special. Yeah, it's still like, it's pretty expensive still. Check lands would be okay. I would accept check lands. I don't know about the pain lands. What is it? What's the check land? I don't know. All pathways exist? What is the Clearwater pathway? Ah, here we go. Yeah, Clearwater pathway. Wow, these things are still not really cheap. $5. But I'm telling you, you can't... In Modern is not going to tolerate these lands. You're basically doing nothing on one turn. Like, you really need your blue or black lands by turn 1 all the time for your Hedron Crab, your Ruined Crab. Like, there's just... I mean, maybe you're playing these things so that you can get, like, extra fetches. So maybe there's some number of them that you can keep, but 6 seems like way too many to me. It's just too large. You need, or at least, or if you keep these, let's say you keep these for some reason, these lands need to give you island and like island or swamp by turn 1 very, very often. You need to have access to that failed push. And I guess failed push is going to demand at least 4 of these. But your mana is going to be so jank. You're going to have so many games where you play Terramorphic Expanse on turn 1 because you have like a Hedron crab and you have to pass. And like then you get your crab out on turn 2 and you take up a mana. River of Tears? Is River of Tears a budget land? Hey, that's not bad. Add blue mana to your mana pool. If you played a land this turn, add black to your mana pool instead. That's not bad. $3? That's a pretty good suggestion. I'd take that. If we're on a budget. But anyway, so you got to fix some of the... I mean, you could fill up some of these lands here if you want. Replace the islands and swamps with some of those dual lands. Maybe just keep 4 of these. It's so clunky. It's so clunky. And you're like a clunky burn deck, basically. More or less. So you don't want to be more clunky. Like, the deck is good. The deck has what it takes, but you don't want to be clunky with it. So let's look at the rest of the deck. Profane, Memento, Soul Guide Lantern, Aether Gust, Madding Cacophony, Ashok, Fraying Sanity, Mystical Dispute, Ravenous Trap. The rest of this deck is fine. I mean, see, I see you're putting the budget in your lands. And I understand, you know, you don't want to spend more than like $2 on the land. So maybe River of Tears is a good way of getting all your land drops early. So if you replace 2 swamps, 2 islands, sorry, no, maybe 2 islands, 2 evolving wilds, that would make 9 islands on turn 1. But I think River of Tears is black mana on turn 1, right? If you played a land this turn, add black to your mana. So this is turn 1, it's black mana. It's tough. Scheming Symmetry works very well with Archive Trap. It does. Like I've seen like I don't know the rhyme or reason for building it this way, but like I've seen many different builds of Mill. Everyone has their own way to do it. Yeah, River doesn't cast crabs, but it's still black mana later. Like, you could play it and then play Bloodchief's Thirst. Or play it and then, you know, not Crypt Incursion, Maddening Cacophony, and then Expertate on the same turn. Painlands, what is it called? Bad River? No, that's a fetch land. What is the pain land? That's a... What's the Dimir pain land? I see a lot of mill players hold their crab for the following turn to avoid removal, so maybe River will be fine. Yeah, so, I mean, but for that matter, then your fetch lands would be fine as well. Oh yeah, it's Underground River. The crappy Underground Sea. How do we get around this reserve list? Well, we're just going to make another underground something. This is not budget at all. This is $8 fucking dollars. You can just get like Dark Slick Shores for this much money. Who said this was budget? Bullshit. The only budget part about this is if you get like a World Championship Series version. Sunken Ruins. I think actually this deck will not use the filter lands very well. And this is also $15. These are not budget cards, people. Anyway, this is... You gotta fix the land situation. I have a feeling you're gonna be choked on mana constantly. You're just gonna be constantly choked on mana. You don't have a mana base appropriate for casting blue cards on turn 1 and black cards on turn 1 as well. So anyway, that's the only thing you gotta fix. The rest of the deck is solid. Maybe invest in some budget dual lands of some sort. But good luck with the list. Chromatic Sphere? Not quite. That's a bit clunky too. All right, Snakes. Congratulations, you're the next contestant on Decklist review. It's a Moxfield list. Hopefully it works. Miracles. It's a miracle. I had a opponent that would taunt me like that. They would like stack their deck, you know, like with Brainstorm or whatever, and then flip over Terminus, and they're like, it's a miracle. Yeah, right. Okay, so we've got 3 Jace the Mind Sculptor, 1 Narset Parter of Veils, 2 Teferi Time Raveler, 2 Snapcaster Mage, Entreat, Ponder. What is this, Legacy? Oh, it's Legacy. Okay. Everyone get your Legacy caps on. Treat the Angels. I was like, Ponder, what the hell is going on here? Portent, Prismatic Ending, Terminus, Brainstorm, 2 Force Negation, 4 Force of Will, 1 Protect, 4 Swords to Plowshares, 3 Counterbalance. Yeah, it's been a while since this deck has seen some real play, right? It's been a while. I can't remember. Do they play 3 Counterbalance? Maybe they do. I just haven't looked at any lists for a while. Because, I mean, this is the namesake card of the deck. Why 3 of, not 4 of? Flooded Strand, Island, Mystic Sanctuary, Plains, Prismatic Vista, Scalding Tarn, 2 Tundra, 1 Volcanic Island for that delicious red Elemental Blast and Pyroblast in the sideboard. 2 Back to Basics. Can this deck use Back to Basics very well? Oh yeah, you got 2 islands. 4 islands, 2 plains. I guess if you really want to, you can make it work. I'm used to seeing it in like basically 2 color decks. I mean, I know this is basically a 2 color deck. You have 1 Volcanic Island only for like some counter magic. Oh, you bring in the mountain. Gotcha. Gotcha, that's clever. Containment Priest, 3 Flusterstorm, Monastery Mentor, red Elemental Blast, and 2 Surgical. You can sculpt with Brainstormer fetches for the counterbalance still. Only 1 miracle card. Well, I mean, it's for yeah, I guess so. It's like it's a bit weird. It should just be really called counterbalance. Does it give a price for this list? It's a Tundra, $529 on TCG Player. Volcanic Island, $750 on TCG Player. Wish it showed me the overall price of this deck. I have no real suggestions. I just want to confirm that they only play 3 counterbalances. Like, it makes sense because it sucks in multiples. But I have not looked at a Miracles list in quite some time. When's the last one? I guess this is the most recent. Yeah, 3 counterbalance. Sold. Sold me here. Oh, Darwin Peak or Pike becomes a YouTube member. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. Welcome to the Fish Fam. Or maybe the Coffee Fam. What do we call ourselves here? The Coffee Junkies? The Coffee Clan? Anyway, thanks for becoming a member. Just add more basics, I guess. It's not too hard for this deck to get the basics. Like, if you ever watch Miracle's deck play out, they, like, between the Flooded Strands and the Scalding Tarns, they'll fetch out immediately the basics. And there's so much card draw and filtering with Ponder, you'll find the basics that you need. Fish fam for life. The Coffee Crew, I like that. Welcome, Coffee Crew. That's your names now. From Coffee and MTG, everyone is the Coffee Crew. And then we go to Brew Crew when we get to Decklist review. Caffeine Clan. Holy shit, there's just so many good names. I'm gonna go with this one, Coffee Crew, though. I like that one. No Stoneforge? I get Miracles as slow as molasses, but how do you win with just 2 snaps? Well, the idea is to just lock people out. You lock them out. You lock them out, and then you win with Jace the Mind Sculptor. That's the hidden mode of Jace the Mind Sculptor. Just keep picking it up and exile your opponent's library. That's how it's done. I think the list is clean, though. List is good. List is good. Nothing wrong with this list. For Legacy, 20 lands is actually high for control. Normally we play 18 to 19. This one's a little bit more, I mean, I can understand this deck playing a little, maybe one more land. They're playing with more dual lands that can get hit by Wasteland. The last thing control has to do is win the game. You got that. That's right. That's exactly how it goes. True name Nemesis for clock? Well, the problem is you sweep your true name Nemesis away with Terminus. It's not to say that you can't play with these cards, but I mean, that's more of the Stoneblade version of the deck. Anyway, I think this is a good list. Just leave it up. There's nothing else. Just leave it up. Play your Legacy tournaments. All right, everyone. That's it for Coffee and MTG today. Thank you very much for joining me. If you want to check out the replay, go check out Nikachu MTG streams for all that replay goodness for my podcast, and also sweet gameplay for Merfolk. If I didn't get to your comments, questions, or deck list, don't worry. We do this Monday to Friday, 9 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. Be there or be square. And if you'd like to support the channel and you are not doing so already, you can do so by leaving a sub at twitch.tv/NikachuMTG. You can support on patreon.com/NikachuMTG. Or you can do exactly what our friend Darwin did here and become a member on YouTube. You can hit the join button on YouTube. So, but thank you very much for being a part, making me a part of your daily routine. Thank you, Coffee crew, the Coffee MTG crew, and keep brewing up that coffee, and we'll keep brewing up magic. See you guys next time.